What's up, nerds? I'm Tom, and I'm talking about the Crimson Seas expansion for Valeria Card Kingdoms, and OM to the G is this expansion good. This is easily my favorite expansion for Valeria Card Kingdoms, and it's also like my favorite type of expansion in general, because in my video for the Shadow Realms, what is it called? In the Shadow Veil expansion, it pretty much replaced, all of the citizens and nobles and domains and all that stuff. And they had a couple new-ish mechanics, but mostly just varied everything up so that all the cards felt different without feeling super new, if that makes sense. But here, it kind of throws that all out the window. It adds a whole new board with new actions you can take, which is really just ways to get more points. So it's not even difficult to explain to people who have played the game before. And also, I've played this game with people who've never played Valeria Card Kingdoms before, with this expansion and everything, and they were fine. Now, granted, they're very experienced gamers, like they never played Valeria Card Kingdoms before, but I said, hey, it's a lot like Space Base or Machikoro, and they were all like, oh, okay, we know what you mean. So that was a pretty big hurdle they were already over, but I'm still counting it as a win. Now that board is separated into 4 different sections, and you get these sale tokens, and as an action, you can spend a sale token to go to one of the 4 sections. And like I said before, they're mostly just ways to get points. You can buy these, what are they called? Dukes or something? No, wait. Dukes are the cards that you start with. They're called nobles, which are kind of like mini dukes. They're a card with an extra way to get points. Get a point for every one of this you have, or get 2 points for every one of those you have. Pretty straightforward, a lot like a duke. They're really expensive, and there's like a limit to them, or they cost more the more you have. Another section is just like a set collection thing. You can buy these goods tokens, and you want to have more of the same type of good because they're worth more points. Another section is you get these little tokens that they are a point each, which doesn't sound like a lot, but they're also a recurring resource. Every round you have this resource, and when you spend it, you just flip it face down, and then you get to flip it back up again on your next turn. So that's pretty strong. And then the 4th section is really just a way to get a bunch of resources all at once, which doesn't sound that great. But then again, you're like, okay, well, I can get a bunch of coins on this one action, then spend another sale token to go and buy a noble. I almost called it a duke again. I'm going to keep getting these mixed up. Now, how do you get these sale tokens, you ask, Tom? Well, of course, this kind of replaces everything in the base game, all the citizens and all the monsters and all the domains and stuff. So you kind of almost, it's like a second base game. Again, it almost kind of could have been a base game, but I guess there probably aren't enough domains. They would have had to put a lot more domains in there. And there's no dukes in this version either. But I mean, I guess you get the nobles, so that's fine. I mean, this expansion didn't come with new dukes. Of course, you still use the dukes from the base game and things like that. But a lot of those cards will help you get sale tokens, and they'll also, some of them, like some of the domains will help you get, the tokens from up front, like the goods tokens and things like that. So there's a lot of stuff there to help you, sort of help facilitate you getting to use that sale board a lot. Because if it was a rarity that you use the sale board, it wouldn't really feel like a great expansion. But here you feel like you could use it almost like every other turn, because everybody starts with sale tokens, and you start with a coxswain, which I'm going to go ahead and say I didn't know that was a real word. I didn't know that was a real thing. I don't know a lot of nautical terms, but I thought it was kind of a joke. I thought it was like it sounds like a dirty word, right? It sounds almost like a curse word. Like, watch, I'm going to bleep it. Coxswain. Right? Like somebody cuts you off in traffic. You're like, God, can you believe this coxswain over here? Okay, but everybody starts with a coxswain as a new starter card, where if the dice are the same, or if nothing else triggers, you'll get to trigger the coxswain. And that's one of the main ways that you're going to get more map tokens. So it feels like just so many more options. Like, even though it's only 4 new things, and all they are is just more ways to get points, well, more ways to get points is great, because now it used to just be like, okay, well, which citizens am I going to get my engine going? And then once I got my engine going, now which domains am I going to get, or which monsters am I going to fight to, get points? And also the symbols are important on there, kind of also. So there really weren't that many different ways to get points. And actually, I forgot to mention that the nobles also have those little symbols on them, so you can score more points with your duke and whatnot. But now you have this board, you're like, is it worth it for me to spend another map token to come over here just to get more resources? Yeah, I'm a little bit shy, but then I'd have enough to do this over here. I could buy this domain over here. It just feels like such a meatier game with more choices. And it's still like simple to its core, because all you're doing is rolling the dice, gaining the resources, and then deciding on how to spend them. Or I guess you're deciding on what to trigger if you're if your citizens have options, which, those are other choices. I didn't even mention that there are monster events in here. Like, monsters will come out in the events and they'll have like a little trigger thing that'll affect everybody and you can fight them. Just another way to get more monsters out on the board. It's just, there's so much good in this expansion. My only real complaints that I have with it is one, there's no expansion symbol on there is an expansion symbol on like the nobles and on the domains, which the domains make the most sense because you're going to need to mix those in with other domains. But like all the citizens and stuff, like you're going to want citizens that get you map tokens, so you're going to want to use them. So like unless you keep this expansion completely separate in your box, which I do, you're going to have, if you want to mix it together or whatever, you're going to have to like know which citizens to use or go through and look at each citizen or read the rule book or something. It would just be a lot nicer if, I guess they haven't done it for the previous expansion, so it just would have been nice if from the get-go everything had a little expansion symbol like most things do. But that kind of leads into the real main part of the complaint, is that this is very self-contained. Like, yeah, you're going to want citizens that get you map tokens. So you're probably going to use pretty much every citizen from the base game. Sorry, I just said that backwards. You're probably going to use every single citizen from this expansion. What I would love to see is like another expansion in the same vein, like Return to Crimson Seas, where you could have different types of citizens and different types of things that will also get you map tokens, but maybe you could have another board where it's very similar to the previous one, things work slightly different, so like the cards are interchangeable. That would be awesome. I think that's kind of a pipe dream, but that would be awesome. Obviously, I highly recommend this expansion. I think it's the first expansion you should buy. I think you should get Valeria Card Kingdoms and the expansion all at once. I think it's phenomenal. Again, I love this game. I think it brought it from a great game to an even greater game. It brought it from like a 7.5 up to like an 8.5 or a 9 or something. Maybe I'm overhyping it for you, but I love this game. It's great for new players, and the fact that I can show this to new players and then show them this expansion, like that's phenomenal. I love it. I'm going to put a purchase link to this expansion in the description box down below. Also down there is going to be a link for Game Toppers. They're our sponsor. You should check them out. What you should definitely do, even if you don't hit any of those other links down there, you should definitely hit the button that says subscribe, because if you subscribe to our channel, then you'll never be bored. Ba-doom.